your not so friendly friends and tell them that it is brunch time with Maiyegun. And a quick reminder as well that brunch time is also an open mic. You can phone in anytime to possibly add your own contribution or what have you. So, as the caption for this particular broadcast is kind of like self-explanatory. It is about the ongoing police, action concerning some individuals who came together, published invitation card for the launching or unveiling of their 1.5 billion naira Obi of Lagos Palace. So the Ronukus laid their hands on this and they feasted on it for the past 2-3 days because, as you know, their ongoing tribal, ethnic, politically sponsored war seems to have, like the virus or bacteria, found something to feed on. So this has prompted other reactions, just so we are clear. So the first reactions was that of the police, who have now gone ahead to apprehend the brain behind that. Obi of Lagos. The Ronukus have been living and, they have been living off the fear that they created, the fear that they have weaponized. And that fear is that the Igbos are coming to take over Yoruba land. They are coming to dispose of the Yoruba Obas, and all other things they have created. So this fits into that as much as it is probably inconsequential or provocative for the Ronuku, so to say. So they amplified it. And what was the invitation? It's the one on the left. The attachment on the right is that of the Lagos State Police. Okay. So these guys put this out. It's a special invitation, that you are specially invited to the unveiling of the prototype of a 1.5 billion naira palace of Obi of Lagos State and celebration of his first Ofala Festival, New Yam Festival. Tomorrow, it was supposed to be the 13th of September, right? So prototype, meaning they are practically like going to be raising funds as well to build a palace for Obi of Lagos in Nigeria. Yeah, they have this, I don't know if it is written or unwritten, so to say, but over time or from time immemorial, right? As Nigerians migrate to other part of Nigeria, form their own communities. Like, when we say communities, it's not like they went anywhere and they took land and they sort of like started communities. No, 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 no. It simply means that when you have, for example, the Igbo Union in Lagos, for example, say Igbo Union means everyone who is of Igbo ancestry in Lagos will automatically be a member if they want to. And why do they always have that? So it's the same thing. When you go to the eastern part of Nigeria, you see other communities like the Hausa communities, Fulani communities, Yoruba communities. And most of the time, they tend to, those communities tend to recreate what it is like back home, even though they are like still within the same Nigeria. What does that mean? They may appoint anybody as the head, give them the title, but over time we've had to see the Oba of Newi, Oba of Enugu, Seriki of Enugu, or Seriki Fulani of Anambra, names like that. Seriki Fulani of Lagos simply means whenever the government and the people of which happen to be their host. So whenever they want to sort of like, have any form of intermediary relationship, whatever, with these communities, their leaders are the contact point. A bit of an idea that somehow maybe these days they are becoming more or less like irrelevant, but they've always been ceremonial. They hold no authority over nobody except their members, who they have their own set rules. So this is what Nigeria seems to have been like until APC, Egbekegbe, happened. Okay. And as much as even in Lagos, as much as they have, the Seriki of this, this is the Seriki Fulani and his own palace in Lagos, by the way. So they have I don't know the title they give to the Hausawas leaders, so to say, in Lagos. But the Ronukus who have created the political tension to politically tag the Igbos enemies have decided to use that same blanket sort of like stereotyping to treat everyone same way. But here is the twist. There are Igbos in Lagos and Igbos in other parts of Nigeria who are just there to live or work or do their business as legitimately as possible. Most of them are not even like really interested in the politics of, the land or wherever they are. Mostly, right? There are few ones like they are elites who somehow could create a pathway that will give them an access, possibly to the uh, government of their, or the government that is their host. Or yeah. So in that process, they drag the millions of others who are just minding their business into what they had no clue about. Because come to think of it, they have Eze Ndigbo in Lagos. And I don't know about you. This is my first time of hearing anyone address himself as Obi of Lagos, if there is no sinister motive. As irrelevant as it should be, I bet some of you who are just hearing or watching this video are probably hearing that for the first time too. So they are celebrating the first year, meaning they created Obi of Lagos. And at the end of the day, when you begin to dig it, you will see that they also have a link to the same APC, Egbekegbe. But what is Obi of Lagos? Like, anyway, their police reacted, okay? And according to them, they found those who were trying to provoke the Ronukus, who are allergic to anything Igbo to start with, right? So their police arrest and the statement, they said, I'm going to go to page 2, or paragraph 2 rather. The principal suspect, Engineer Chibuke Azubike, 65 years old man, an indigenous of Obodoku Ancient Kingdom in Edeato North Local Government of Imo State. So he is not a prince. And if he is, by any chance, I mean, I don't think there's anything called Obi of Imo State to start with, if it is not just number one, right? Even before I continue reading, right? Number one, it is either these guys are intentionally, right, playing the script, which will also very much like help the Ronukus and their sponsor in government to have something, just any reason, right? To target the Igbos in Lagos, because that's the primary goal, right? Or these guys are just so stupid enough that they what is called a self-aware. Fine, it never used to be like this. But in the last 2.5 years or 3 years, right, you have been shown clearly that the APC, Egbekegbe in Lagos, right, they have gone tribal and they've taken it national. The Igbos have been singled out. So as an Igbo person, why would you by any means want to get yourself involved in anything that you know ordinarily, right, will trigger these mofos to go after your kith and kins? self-aware or self-awareness, so to say. Now let's continue what their police had to say. So from there's alongside three co-conspirators, say one Chief Chibuzo Ani, age 57 years, another Chief Martins Waudika. They are calling themselves chiefs. And these were just like, normal people who travel down to Lagos, right? Started probably business owners themselves. But somehow, right, they needed this title attention of a thing without being self-aware of what is going on around them, right? So, 41 years. All four suspects are presently in custody in Lagos, blah, blah, blah. Then intelligence available to them indicated that the group had finalized arrangement to unveil a prototype. Prototype means something they have imagined and built up to, to become their palace in Amuwo Dofin, right? That's the Amuwo Dofin. Now, Amuwo Dofin area is one area in Lagos. But with this action, right, uh, they have then further put more or less like a target on Igbos who are living in other areas in Lagos. If it is not premeditated, then it is absolute tomfoolery, right? So they are, who are these guys? Take a look at them. The one on the left is the one called Engineer something, right? Their leader, Engineer, what's his name again? Chibuke Azubike. That's the one. This is the one parading himself as the Obi of Lagos. Like, what the heck was that? What were they thinking? Then look at the characters who wants to build 1.5 billion palace. You have seen that after your 2023 charade, the Ronukus are, you see the Ronukus, the foot soldiers that are spreading this tribal hatred and the rest of that. They are just mere foot soldiers. They are doing the bidding of those who hold power, the ones who actually really direct and fund the bigotry. So if you are somebody who is a businessman who has been in Lagos for God knows for how long, right? And you've probably witnessed different kinds of government. And by now, you are yet to figure out that this particular one, for their political survivor, right? The Igbos will remain the target. And you are not so self-aware to that level enough that you have to, embark on an adventure that will further put. I know some will say, but people have the right to. No, 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 no. There's no right in that sense, right? Prior to this, you won't hear anything called Awujale of Enugu. It will be a complete joke. And that's why there are so many Igbos who personally feel like offended too. Like, what the heck are these guys actually thinking? Like, are you not so aware of your surroundings, right? The level of the level of the political sponsored attacks on your tribe, so to say. Like, are you not that sensitive enough for you to, yeah? So Obi of Onitsha is a paramount ruler. It's actually a real title. When they call somebody, I know that probably Obi means a king in Igbo land too, right? But Obi, especially that title of Obi, is a paramount title. But it's like us in Yoruba land. When you hear about Oba, Oba this, Oba that, that is much like, he's a king. But once they say somebody is like, for example, Allah for you, and then you hear somebody say he's the Allah of Kano because he's from Oyo State. Even an ordinary Oyo person will feel offended. Like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Like, do you get that now? So the Ronukus have built on that. And right now, it is like they have, they have fed into that. So the point I want to make this afternoon, by the way, about it, you have your own chance and your shot, right? We already have Ohaneze Ndi Igbo, which is the umbrella body of the Igbo socio-political group, so to say. In all parts of Nigeria where they have created a prototype of, kind of like a leadership in that sense, or title, we've added the Eze Ndi Igbo. They say Eze Ndi Igbo means the leader or the king of the Igbos in Lagos, recognized by their government, right? They have what do you call? They have a Seriki Fulani, as much as in the northern part of Nigeria, where you have the Fulani, so to say. Seriki is more or less like a just chief, head, right? But they do have others they call the Amir. That one is higher. So by the time you hear the Emir of Lagos, right, it is going to receive the same treatment. Emir of Enugu or Emir of Port Harcourt, Awujale of Bayelsa. You get what I mean? Obi of Borno. That is more or less like people trying to provoke something. And in this day and time where external factors are pretty much believed as well, right, to be influencing the internal factor that has further helped this division. You know, what we call the fault lines that is so blurred before now is now so open. And there are people who are actually feeding that, feeding that. I get what you mean. I don't think we really want to have that conversation, okay? So if you have the story of, the history of Ilorin, right? So you know that normally, right, if they want to be kind of like a sincere, so to say, there's no point in probably living in Ilorin as part of Yoruba land. The Kwara state, which is today, Ilorin is part of, right? The Ilorin is actually their capital, right? So the Kwara state of today is still comprises of over 70% Yorubas who owns their land, who owns their title, who have the titles of the Yoruba Obas. So you know the history of how Ilorin is that, right? So you can't drop that into this conversation. Like, which traditional house would you say the Kibuke is probably from, and then the Obi of Lagos in Amuwo Odofin? What historical connection would you put to that? Because I know randomly people can be intentionally like stupid. So you know that history. And Kogi state is not made up of Yorubas only. The only part of, just like you have Ilorin, right? The Yorubas that are part of what is today's Kogi state, they continue to hold their own kings and the titles for them. So you can't say the Yorubas should probably be, Kogi state should be Yoruba land, right? When it is not like that, so to say, because the way they created your state in Nigeria, just a quick digression, right? The way they created your state in Nigeria, they were not created by you. They were not created by the consent of the people. No. That is why you will see today the political, what do you call that one? The political demarcation called borders that are drawn all over Nigeria that you call states today. They are creations of the same, the same Fulani terrorists and their, what have you, collaborators, so to say. And what does that mean? That is why you see those who are supposed to, for example, let's say Benue and Enugu, you will see Igbos who are part of Benue, and they are not supposed to be. If they actually had a referendum that says, okay, here are the borders of the Igbos who are here, okay, where do you want to belong to? Similarly, same thing is all over the place. You didn't draw your map, you didn't draw your state. But that's not the conversation, okay? The conversation is that we are now existing in a contraption that is so divided because it is politically weaponized division. And if you are not so self-aware, right? For example, now, okay, after their 2023 charade, the Ronukus were pushing. Mind you, those who are sponsoring them, their intention was actually to go after the same Igbos they considered as a political rivals. But they are clowns, they are sewage dwellers. They were spreading these hateful, hatred rhetorics all over the place. And before you know it, right, the government started demolition of people's properties, people's businesses. We saw all of that. We saw the entire campaign that followed that, where people were actually encouraged that it is not ideal for you to go and put your money in Lagos. Not now that it is more politically charged. And these guys will destroy anything and everything because they have the power to. So if you are wise enough at that point, you won't get yourselves involved in anything that will kind of like set you up for what these guys have always wanted to do.